Yo, what is going on? Good morning, everyone. My name is Seth Miranda. This is Cove with Creators. It's 11 a.m. Eastern on a Wednesday. That means we go live from 42 West 18th Street. This is not a green screen. This is a real human, Lindsay Adler, next to me. And you're always welcome here. But before we get into everything, I just want to say a real quick thanks to Profoto for sponsoring this. We both shoot Profoto. It's probably the next level in lighting. You're looking at very refined systems, very reliable in every rental house in the world. If you are trying to get into this industry as an assistant, learn that system for sure. But check out the links for the full lineup. I'm a big fan of the A series, the B series, the D series, the packs, everything.
I was like, are there more series?
Yeah. Well, they did have the C series, but we're not going to talk about that. And then Gotham Roasters. Thanks so much. Cheers, girl.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you get?
I got a chai tea because I don't drink coffee. I know. I saw it was coffee and I was like,
knew she was one of those.
Difficult. I know.
But if you're in New York, they're one block up from Adorama. They're on 19th Street, and it's owned by a photographer and filmmaker. So you're supporting the crew. Go over there, say what's up, say Adorama sent you, and then they'll keep sponsoring the show. So thanks so much for hooking us up with the coffee. And of course, I have Lindsay Adler. If you're watching this, especially on this channel, you know who Lindsay Adler is. I think this is the most blue I've ever seen her surrounded by. Picture red everywhere.
True.
Yeah, the queen of red. So Lindsay Adler is a fashion photographer, pretty prolific in this industry, a huge educator. Canon Explorer of Light has 8 million things with their names on it that some of you probably own, like a projection, optical spot. I think you have some kind of holder on a wall for your modifiers. The list goes on, but you've either seen her video, seen something she shot, or you've heard her speak somewhere pretty much. And thanks for coming through. You've been on the channel forever. I feel like we haven't had you on here at all.
Well, I was waiting for you in that list to say something sassy at the end.
No,
because that's usually what you and I are doing.
No.
Now listen.
Come on.
I think I've probably spoken in this space maybe 3 or 4 times total. But it definitely it looks gorgeous. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Like it's better than I would have ever come up with. Love it.
I mean, you did the demo in here on color theory. I'm not sure what the name of it was, but it was color theory.
Exactly. Yeah,
and it was all gels and basically analogous colors and contrary colors and stuff like that, which it's not really a theory. We know what colors do, what goes with what, and how to work with it. Look back on the Adorama Events channel for her demo where she really dives into it. I thought it was really good, and all you need is a pack of gels to get going.
Yeah, so simple. So now I feel like I want to ask you questions. I know it's supposed to be about me, but we were talking about this. I have no idea how long we've known each other, but it's been a long time now.
I don't even remember when I met you, but I do remember a WPI where I needed gear. Everything was breaking on me, and they said, "Oh, Lindsay has it." You had everything you were borrowing everything from everyone. I was like, but she came back and she asked for it, and the first thing she said was, "When do you need it back?" And I was like, all right, I'm cool with her. She's all right. Because there's a lot of people that don't care. At those shows, they get on stage, they get what they need, and then they're just done with everything.
Well, so here's the thing, is people don't care like what happened. If you're up there, I've seen you do incredible problem solving up on stage. It's so stressful because you'll have I don't know. I mean, hundreds of people up there, and then your light doesn't work, and you're talking through it, and you're just trying to dance and distract them. And
she has 14 little elves come out to do things while she's tap dancing with a hat and getting through. I mean, that's part of it, though. It is performance. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Well, and so when I first started speaking, it scratched an itch for me from when I was a kid. So I was a young theater nerd.
Oh, gee, I could never have spotted this at all. You actually, Lindsay does this thing with her mannerisms that she looks like a ballerina at rest. It's always this. Mm-hmm. Yep, there. Yeah,
that. Well, good posture. Long neck, look good.
It's like a charm school thing or something.
I wish.
I don't know.
No, it's the same thing as knowing you're on camera and performing and whatnot. But so after I was middle school, I done some local theater. And then when you got to high school, I was so excited to try out for it, and was musicals. And I can't sing at all. And so then I didn't get to do anything because apparently if you act, you have to sing. And then I found photo teaching, and now I can perform and everybody looks at me and it's great. And it's the same itch as you get when you're in theater as a kid.
You definitely have a routine going. I saw the last big one I saw you do at Imaging USA was the full room and everything like that. And I was it was Mark, boom, 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 boom. You're just going through it. I can't do the way you do it. I have to have chaos.
No, your chaos is great though. It keeps people on their feet. Like you're shouting and you've got people involved and you bounce off other people. It's really good.
I think you show an elevated version. So no, well, think about it, right? If you're really going into production, you have higher end clients. Look, I'm a janitor, right? You have like brands coming in. You have your assistants have a certain demeanor. They learn how to do things while you're placating to a client. They know what to do already. And I feel like that's what I get from your demos is showing where you're trying to get to if you're trying to get to a level. And you have a tact level, a taste level, a respect level. And mine are just kind of like, everyone scream at me. Listen, 40% of my demos are based off of pro wrestling. So that's kind of where I get half my shtick.
So, okay, I know this is supposed to be a chat, but it is hardwired into me to teach stuff. I can't help it.
I know.
Like I don't have a choice. So speaking of your production.
You got a Miss Frizzle thing going on. Miss Frizzle?
Frizzle, yeah.
The Magic School Bus. Frizzle?
Yeah, I've seen her all over my reels recently. Why? Oh, I think I know why. So, no, what I was going to say for production. I can't.
What are we doing here?
I can't. What I was going to say is in production, when I do things, everybody has like really, really specific jobs. Mm-hmm. And so there'll be somebody very, very defined where it's like if it's a workshop or if it's an event, it's somebody greeting people at the door, somebody whose job it is to check people in, but it's also someone for hair, makeup, someone setting up lighting who is the lead. But then there's a secondary person who is assisting them. Then there's a third person who's running and getting things. So I just put together a call sheet this morning for a client I have on next Thursday. I'm doing a hair and makeup campaign. There were 18 people on my call sheet. So 18 people underneath me. Yep. And so when I do like anything that I have to do production for in life, it always seems quite easy because like on any given Thursday, I have 18 people that I have to lead to do stuff. So this is why I was saying, we were talking about before, my feet were dangling here and he got me an Apple box. And I was saying how important it is for anybody, like everybody on a set to just be trying to help, like, and just looking for where there's issues. Because if it's all on the photographer to like, think like, oh, hey, can you get that for this person? Can you do this? Your brain will just melt. And then you can't focus on like making photos.
Yeah. I think a big thing to look for in a team is everyone's trying to get to an end goal instead of that few people have an ego that don't understand. Listen, I don't care what you shot or what you've done today. I need you to hold this stand, and if you can't get that, if you can't understand that in the end, it's what you produce on that day, you're not going to get anywhere.
Question for you. Did you ever do assisting or did you go straight to, you did?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I spent a lot of years lugging 4x5 cameras around this city for a lot of people.
Cool.
And I didn't know any other way. That's what it was back then. You wanted to shoot, cool. Whose work do you like? Now try to get in touch with them. Make sure that you have a personality that they want to work with. And then you got to prove that you're worth having on set. Then when you're worth that, a few weeks later, a month later, they'll sit you down and be like, remember when I did that thing? Here's why. And that's when you start, and I'd like to think this show, all these friends you see me pull on are years of that, right? Like you did right by people. You got respect is everything to me. I'm never going to be rich, but street cred, I'll go to I will. That's my grave right there.
Pizza boxes.
The pizza boxes.
Straight to rich.
It's millionaire. That's my whole, it's going to be my retirement plan is that and Teflon coated white shirts that never get stains.
We were talking about his white shirts as well. So I know you did a training for assistants, like it was this year, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I didn't know I was doing it though.
Oh, so it was to show up and like,
I just showed up and they were like, you're teaching grip. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm teaching grip. I put my bag down. We just went over C-stands and they rotated the groups. It was put on by APA.
APA. Yeah. I think I saw that.
Yeah.
So for assistants, like when you give them advice, because people are always asking, like even my own assistants, one of the best ways to learn about the business is to assist people. But then how do you get to assist people? Like, is this part of what they were talking about at APA, or is it just all like, here's how to do your job as an assistant? I
think Cliff went over that the most, where I want to call it protocol. Mm-hmm. If you're having a problem, well, who do I go to? Well, if you're a second assistant, leave the photographer alone. You've got an assistant above you that you can go mitigate things with. First of all, don't you think it's sad that we can't just assume people have common sense of how to be?
No, this is not sad. This is reality. It's absolutely crazy the things that people do on set.
You have a lot of assistants. You have way more assistants than I'll ever. I work alone as much as I can, but you get younger assistants. And what I want to know is, have you seen a difference in demeanor across the generations that you've had come through your studio?
Okay. So, part of it is yes. But I will also say I still have had assistants recently that are absolutely perfect as assistants, brilliant people, but their photo knowledge was not relevant because they had the right personality, so they could learn about studio gear. And so if I'm ever bringing someone on, literally, if they haven't shot before, it doesn't matter, because I can probably teach them in a half a day the basics. And then if they're smart enough, they can watch the other assistants, and then if they have the right personality, they're making themselves useful, and then I'm going to keep bringing them back.
Right, exactly.
So, but yes, I've definitely seen some change, and I don't want to be Kim Kardashian, but like, people don't want to work anymore or whatever it is. But it's kind of it's there.
Look, when I was growing up, 16-hour days were like a given. You know, I was driving trucks for Viacom and still assisting, and I didn't think about it. It's like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Now I got a kid sometimes for like 6 hours. They can't stay focused. They feel like they've got, once you get into the shoot, you're kind of quiet and they're kind of recessed back. And I think that's when you lose them.
Yeah.
Unless they're really pro.
For sure. So Ab and I were gossiping. He's okay with this. We were gossiping because there was this girl that had planned to assist for me. And she had come recommended. And so I'm like, okay, I'll have her. And then intern for me. And
what's the difference between an intern and an assistant to you?
An intern, their job is to learn, and by the end of their internship, I should be comfortable hiring them as an assistant. That if my first assistant stepped away, I would know they could have my back.
Okay.
So, you know, like, the first assistant is the one that I rely on first and foremost for everything, to communicate to everyone else. But, you know, whatever, bathroom breaks, phone call, got sick, like, I need that person to be able to step in. An intern, they don't have that pressure, but I still want them to be constantly making themselves helpful and learning and being proactive. And so this young woman had applied for an internship, accepted it. My internships are paid. And then she came back to me a couple of weeks later saying that it wasn't enough pay and she knows her worth. Ooh. And Ab like encountered this person as well. And he like gave her a test of like, okay, well then go set up a C-stand, go set this stuff up correctly. And guess what?
Can't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's a balance. Okay. So there is a balance. And I think it's really important to know your worth. I do think that's true. So people don't take advantage of you. But the problem is, how do you actually know what you're worth and, like, you know, a good opportunity or not? So yeah. Challenging.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the newer, I keep saying kids, but they just don't understand how important relationships are over everything. Sure. And how just things will stick in your brain. And
she didn't know that Ab and I know each other, and that she tried to work for both of, like, you know, if you burn a bridge, the industry's so small.
Yeah, when your ex-girlfriends start talking to each other, you're...
Oh, has this happened to you? I feel like it has.
Never, no. But it's crazy. If you don't think that in a creative industry like this, where so few get to hit an upper echelon, it's not tight knit, you're crazy. You're absolutely, we all know each other.
Well,
to some degree.
But on a similar note, though, is people ask me about, like, oh, how did you get this big publication, or how'd you get this XYZ? It is almost always because I knew somebody that made the connection. And so the more that I can kind of put feelers out there and do good by people, the better. So I don't want anyone ever to leave a set not feeling appreciated, not feeling respected. Even, you know, and don't get me wrong, it's not like you can give attention to everyone on set, but in the end, it's thanking people for what they did.
Yeah, but it's not just knowing people. They have to want to recommend you because they respect and believe in you, first of all. But people don't realize that everything you do, period, is an audition in this industry. I don't care how pro you are. I don't care what your name is or what you've shot or who you've worked with. That day, if you didn't pull off something and it's the first time they're interacting with you, oh, that's how this person works? Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I got one of my Makeup Forever gigs because I knew a person who ended up being a lead artist for them because they were just nice to the catering guy. The catering guy is a brother of a director. Cool. And so, but that's because they're in arm's length and they trust each other. You got to get to that level of being trusted. How do you do that? Don't be a schmuck. It's like, I mean, it's that simple. Isn't it? It seems common sense, but I think people get egos too quick.
Well, okay, but so on a similar note though, is an everyday being an audition, that sort of thing. It also means that every single shoot is an opportunity to mess it up, which is why it's stressful for the photographer. And it's part of why, we'll put it this way, it's part of why the compensation is higher for a photographer, because the client is going to not hire that person and their entire team again if something goes wrong. So a good example, I had a bridal client that I worked with over and over and over again. They'd probably hired me 6-8 times, not crazy good pay, but it was a day rate twice a year. And the hairstylist I had for that job bailed the morning of, sent an assistant who couldn't do the job. I never got hired by that client ever again. So it's like, so it's building a good team that's reliable, that you can trust, that you help each other out. And I think everybody takes it seriously because they know it's also their job on the line. Meaning, not like, of course, I was never going to hire that, that hair assistant again. But like, those are 2 jobs a year they're not getting as my team if they mess it up. So it's much more serious than taking photos.
No, Lindsay Adler isn't just Lindsay Adler, her. It's a banner that there's a whole team under. They're high. You're representing, basically. I actually had a makeup artist who did some work I had a character actor. I did headshots, not headshots. I call them headshots, but they were character examples so that he'd get more work, right?
Yeah, cool.
So twice to 3 times a year. I got a makeup artist on the fly who wouldn't shut up and drove, and SFX makeup is 4 or 5 hours. He got to set so irritated. I had to, from then on, he had to approve my artist. He had to know my artist to go shoot with me.
Totally.
It's crazy, right? It's just, but people don't understand that it's never just one name getting to an end result. When I assist Joe McNally, I know I'm representing Joe. You don't want to let him down. I can't imagine how many younger photographers coming through your studio. They're like, I can't go.
Well, I'm also, personality wise, I'm really bad at confrontation. Like I'm not. Okay, I either avoid it or I hit it so head on that it's too much. I'm not good at the like gentle,
I have no gauge.
Yeah, I'm not good at the gentle, like, okay, we have to talk about something. We need I'm bad at it.
Yeah, but you don't do it in front of people.
No, I know. I'm just being honest. Like I'm either I'm 0 or 100. Like I'm not great at it. It's something I'm aware of and I try to improve. But it's the same thing of like, an assistant who doesn't know any better, like that talking too much or bringing up like politics, like in front of a client. You're like, oh my God, like this is not what this is for. And then like, so having a good team to set the example and then like gently guide somebody in the direction of not doing the dumb thing that they're doing, it is so helpful. So for example, my hairstylist, Lynn, he's incredible. And whenever he sees a fire, he puts it out for me. Or anytime he sees someone's doing something really stupid, he'll see me like twitch and he'll step in. And that's not his job as a hairstylist, but that's why I hire him literally every single job I can because he saves me.
But that's
He's
also
wonderful.
That's a chemistry thing too, though.
I love him.
Yeah, but there's like a thing when you get a really good person on set where you don't have to say things and they're already going to things. Like forget, like if you can tell what setups you're moving into and they know to move that rim light, like forget about it. It's the best. But then they're not always available because they're that good. So it's like
totally. Well, but that's always the thing for like assistants. If you get them trained up real well, and then you're like, okay, I lost you. You're too busy now. But that is actually what I want for my assistants. I want them to be successful and busy.
I've heard her behind closed doors yell, "I've made you. I made."
That's
I heard it.
So
I heard
not
it.
true.
I heard it.
I've never ever said that.
If you guys have any questions, this is why we're live. So feel free to jump them in the chat, and we appreciate all the positive words in here. Thank you guys so much. And Eric Bird, what's going on? You're always here. Ken, thanks for joining us. Brad, always. Film Fernando's in here. 160 people watching, only 49 likes. That is pathetic. You guys can hit like. God. It's free. She lives off of likes. She needs to feed her family on likes.
That's what I do.
She needs the validation. Look, can't you tell? Can't you tell? I mean, how many years would you say it's taken you to build up a repertoire where you felt you've had a team that you can always go to? Because after all, it's a formula.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll actually back up and say I have had a business for 24 years. From when I went to New York, been in New York maybe, let's say 15-ish years.
Okay.
Let's see, what is it? 15 years. And I would say I've had my like really amazing core team for the last 9.
9?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it's pretty much the same people I've used nonstop for the last 9 years. And doesn't mean I don't want to mean like A team, B team, like people are bad. You always have your other artists, but it really is like family. that you have each other's backs. Like you take care of each other. It's beautiful. Cause then, okay. I also, remember we were talking about not talking. I have no friends or minimal friends. I have like 3 friends.
I have no
I
friends.
have no friends. I have like 3 friends that I actually spend time with. I'm not even kidding. No, not 3 friends. What am I talking about? I have my sister and 1 friend.
You have a sister?
Yeah.
Older or younger?
Younger. She's wonderful. So a built-in friend. I told Chris that my sister was my friend. He says that doesn't count because it's built in and she has to be. I said that is not true.
And I love you, Stacy, but I wouldn't say we're like best friends or anything like that. So that's a friend. Okay, see, a relationship's a relationship.
So I basically have 2 people that I like will actually spend time with, be friendly with. And so if I didn't have my I swear, if I didn't have my creative team, you're killing me.
You're killing me. You just stared through my soul. It's like, I have no friends. I was the saddest. I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life.
True.
Jeez.
My point was that they fill my emotional battery. Like they're like being on set. They are kind to me. My team loves me. They take good care. We're like actually friends, even though I make no time for anything else.
See, I don't like, I like as little people on set as possible. I will kill myself to move everything I have to, no matter what.
Oh my gosh, no.
I can't stand it.
Whenever I raise my own light stand, my first assistant goes, "Oh, queen of the people." I swear.
Well, I mean, you're pretty well dressed when you're on set and stuff like that, so I can imagine you're not, I'm imagining better shoes than I would be wearing and things
Stephen
like that.
will have long pointy nails.
Yo,
and I'll see him lifting. I go, "You cannot be careful with your nails if you're assisting me." And he'll be like,
Yeah, by the way, like what you wear to set, I've sent makeup artists home for open-toed shoes because it's a liability. I want you to look professional. I don't care how cute you look, but it is a thing, the way you come present.
I say this all the time, and some people ignore me.
One apple box gets flipped over the wrong way and she breaks a toe. That's my insurance.
Yeah, no, I mean, but I also think some certain members of my team that like to look more fabulous that you may have met hates when
Got the long hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will always say, like, I love when my assistants wear branded shirts. I know it's corny, like it'll be like a Lindsay shirt or something, but it makes it look like it is a well-oiled machine. Like they walk in and they're like, "Oh, okay, people are serious." Where then he is wearing short shirts and it's not professional. I'm like, you don't understand. It looks so good when you look professional.
I forgot what job I was doing, but it was a high volume job and they were bays. And so my team had to have a color code so you knew who was working with what.
Oh,
and we didn't know this. So we just got packs of shirts and duct tape with my name on them. And I slapped on their shirt and then I made the shirt. I printed it. And I was like, this will sell. Didn't sell. But I just loved how everybody was so pristine and like dialed in, and I got duct tape guys. It was awesome.
I don't know. I think it makes people take you seriously.
No, hey Sam, what's up? What's up, man? You know Sam.
Sam spends way too much time A, with me, and B, listening to my voice. Sam does my videos and editing. I always ask my video editors how they can stand to look at me in life. Because if you had to listen to my voice nonstop for like days and days at a time every month, I would be very unhappy.
Yeah, how's that, Chris? How's that? I was kidding. No, but Sam does amazing work, and I think all your videos have a specific, very high-end, clean look to them, and that's Sam. I mean, Sam does an amazing job.
I tease Sam all the time. I say, "Sam, you're expensive, but you're worth it." So if anyone needs amazing video, it's worth it.
Yeah, Sam Beret in the chat, it's amazing, but also he's on our channel with his own videos. He did a bunch of Canon videos for us, Filmmaker Week, all this stuff. Great guy and humble, man. Like he's just hungry and humble, and that's how you do it.
Same thing though. If Sam can absolutely speak to this on set, if I need help with something, he steps up. Like it has nothing to do with video. If I need help lifting a light, managing something, like he's on it, and I don't even have to ask. It's wonderful. So he counts as my photo family.
Ken is asking, so how many are there in your team? So what's like a number?
So on every shoot, there's hair, makeup, wardrobe. So that's 3. Then there's always first assistant, second assistant, 5. Then there's intern, somebody else on set. So it's 6 minimum, but then it depends. So how many models are there for the day? Is there a client there? Do I have video there? So I'd say minimum is 6 people, and maximum I've had 30 people on set before, but then it's real intense.
People that don't know this industry don't realize how much goes into a final image. They really don't sometimes, especially like real commercial work. Like forget it. What was that? I would like to know Josh is asking, I would like to know what thicker sock diffusion she uses for Profoto soft light reflectors.
So this is a good question. The answer is I don't know. So somebody mentioned this to me once, is I have a thicker sock, but I just happen to have it in my kit from something else. Yeah. So I'd say come into Adorama and ask them, and then they can show you and can look at it and test.
There's also lots of third-party diffusers that you can just fit. And they're
one that's really thick.
Yeah, so they're based on stops. That might be a two-stop diffuser that she's talking about. Because a sock usually is a one-stop diffuser on usually a one-stop diffuser or ripstop one-stop diffusing. So you look for two. Once you go beyond two and it's a larger umbrella, you're going to be eating light like no tomorrow. So make sure you have the light to go with that.
Yeah. And so on a similar note too, they also have ones that are like a third stop, meaning super, super thin. And all they do is cut down on specularity a little bit. But when you add a two stop, which is probably the one you've seen me do, it changes the quality of light. Like it is now a soft light source, even though it might have been, a mid-level hard soft beauty dish, for example.
And usually when it's that dense, it'll also change temperature. It could go warmer very easily.
Totally true. Yep. Yeah, it goes, it almost 100% goes much more. I've never articulated that before, but it's totally part of it.
You want to get crazier?
Yeah, tell me.
Sometimes silver umbrellas can shoot magenta, and then you put a diffuser in front of it that's warmer, and then you get a skin tone that you might either completely love or absolutely hate.
Magenta.
Yeah, there's some kind of coating to certain silvers that it reflects back, cutting out the green, creating a magenta spectrum.
Not Profotos.
No. I'm not that color crazy if I'm using a light source like that, I don't get that color crazy. I get super color critical when I'm doing beauty dish, small light work. You have to realize a lot of my stuff that I have to do is so Pantone color critical. If I'm doing something for like a makeup brand, they need to see that red. That red on her mouth, on her lip has to be that red when I give it to them. And I've killed myself to deliver that. So
yeah. And even if you had a beauty dish or an umbrella that's slightly off, you color check everything.
You can color check it. I think what people run into as a trap with color checking and stuff is if they're not using consistent systems. So if you're mixing like a random softbox with a Profoto box or whatever, well, why are those completely different temperatures? They're different diffusions, they're different everything, they're different bleaches, they're all sorts of stuff. So that's when people get a little weird. Like when people use speed lights to fill in shadows, and they go, why are my shadows blue? Because your speed light's blue, homie. It's just what it is. Brad's asking, what's your favorite gig that you've done and why is it your favorite?
Okay, so it depends on if you mean gig paid, because it could be for an editorial for a magazine. Like I have a favorite there, and then other gig paid. Okay, so editorial. I shot an editorial in the desert in Dubai where we had to take these like huge SUVs out to the desert. They let the air out of the tires and then we just drove into sand dunes and it was amazing.
That's cool.
Like we stopped and petted a random camel. Like it was great. And we shot from hair and makeup call time was 3:45 in the morning because it was sunrise. By 10 a.m. I had to have the editorial done because the sand was so hot you couldn't step on it. It was like that sort of thing. And I loved the images. And then my favorite paid gig is more, I did a 5-day hospital campaign.
Oh, yeah. You were directing it though.
Yeah. So I got to direct and shoot stills. And there were like 60 people on set that I was at the top of the pyramid. And that just felt cool. Like it felt like I made it.
I thought you were going to call it the China, the one you did in China.
Well, that was just great. But so Profoto, they bring me over to China. They have, I think, 3 times now. And there's this awesome thing that they have where there's these studios that are shooting spaces with different themes. And I think it's intended a lot for fast fashion brands or influencers to go shoot. And they had this one space that was fantastic where it looked like a vintage theater, but it was like, squished down short. I know, I'm messing stuff up. Squished down small, so you could actually light it instead of it being a huge theater. And the pictures were so pretty. I don't even know what you'd shoot. It would be like, anyway, it was great. And it was something I had seen when I first went to China, several years ago. And then when I came back, we scheduled a shoot just for this. It was awesome. Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, I mean, this was just like set after set after set, and it was just like, it just looked like a huge amount of just running through things.
It was great because, again, it's spaces that are built for photography. So like that stage, there is no backstage and there's no overhead light. You're not competing with everything. You can turn it down, up, change the space. And then same thing is like, there'll be like that sort of window, but a lot of times you could open them up to shoot. Like it's designed as a shooting space.
Yeah, it's all lies. All lies.
There's a couple that are like this that are in LA.
Yep.
They have a couple of these bigger shooting spaces, but this one was like those on crack. Like it was, I think they probably had 50 shooting spaces. It was amazing.
They used to have YouTube studios here. Do you remember that? Above Chelsea Market. They had like fake diners in there and all these like empty hotels and stuff.
Know that.
Yeah. So if you had a certain subscriber count, you were able to go. Yeah.
There.
But the problem was, I think Fernando in the chat, let me know if this is true. I think they own or have to approve whatever you've shot in there. Mm-hmm. And we used it once for actually with Joe and Daniel. We did the diner scene with the alien.
That's cool though.
I don't know what happened to it, but there was something about it that we had to stop using it. And I was like, oh yeah, that kind of sucked. But these spaces do exist, especially in this era. I find like a lot of TikTok pop-up things now, and it's all just like weird walls or whatever.
Yeah, and it had depth, which is why I was like, I really could work it and make it look real. But it's the same thing. It's movie making, right? Like it's like you said, it's all lies.
It's all lies. I mean, look, half my repertoire is like, how do I make it look like it's raining when I'm in this studio? You know, stupid stuff like that. Or how's this zombie, throwing up blood and it's not, it's whatever. They just had to approve it, says Fernando. Okay, cool.
Interesting.
Dubai sounds amazing. Who doesn't want a pet camel? I would love to pet camels.
They were very nice.
Did they spit at you at all?
They told me that, I can't remember if it was the male or the female camels that were aggressive. So they came up and they said, okay, that one's good to pet. And no, they didn't spit. I rode on one once, horrifically uncomfortable. Do not recommend.
Bruno's asking, I saw that you were planning a Euro tour in Portugal. Is that on your list?
So next year is my 40th birthday. And for my 40th birthday, I wanted to spend not to say this was part of what you just asked, but it's relevant. I'm going to spend over a month in Europe to reward myself for making it to I don't know, whatever, reward myself. And I'm going to do
fed myself for 4 decades.
I took care of myself. And so I'm going to do probably at least 2 workshops. I'm planning one in France, one in Italy, and then I don't know about the 3rd place. So unfortunately, Portugal wasn't on my list because it's all part of my my little, it won't be an Eat, Pray, Love journey, but that kind of thing. Okay? it's in that range of France, Italy. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so sad. If the whole after that movie, people made pilgrimages to be it's just wild.
Yeah. I went to this amazing place in France that I maybe will do a workshop there. Okay, nobody make fun of me. I don't know how to say this. You know French?
Do I look like I know French?
No, but I don't want to be.
I barely
mean.
know English. Listen to me.
It looks like in English. It looks like Arles. So Arles.
Okay.
And it is apparently in France they have cities that have like this is the city of olives. This is the city of bullfighting. This is the city of whatever. They have a city of photography.
Interesting.
It is awesome. So during July, August, September, they have dozens of photo exhibitions. And they also have one, I was there during this time, where they had, you go through gardens and they just have these big prints on stands. And then another one, you're going down this, looks like almost like these ancient walls. And they're just photos, just plastered on the walls, but in a cool way.
That's sick.
It was fantastic. And they have their own little coliseum. And then they have a museum called Luma that I went and saw a Diane Arbus exhibition there. And it was a huge collection of her work. I think it's basically any of the prints they could find. So my point is that it's definitely worth a trip. And I feel like I kind of want to do something there because it is the city of photography.
That's cool.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, we went to, when we shot in Paris, there's a video that none of you watched, but we went to this place called Cirque du Cinema. And it was actually owned by, or acquired by the guy who directed The Fifth Element. Okay. So all the cars from The Fifth Element are in there, but it's this amazing architecture with these glass domes, and you're walking forever through this just a gorgeous, a massive space, and it's open to everybody. He just wanted to make sure everybody could go there to appreciate it.
I've never heard of that.
It's beautiful. Fernando, if you can back me up and throw the link in the chat. We shot for Makeup Forever in that video, and I was at a time when I just started on the channel, so no one really even.
Cool.
But it's that space. France has so many places that I think are undersung or just not talked about. I feel like someone should run tours for that, though. What you're talking about, though.
Yeah, I reached out to their tourism board. They responded. It wasn't as helpful as I wanted, but they're trying, so we'll work on it. It's true though. in Cirque du Cinema. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm totally gonna look this up.
Yeah, I'll send you the thing. It was really breathtaking.
Oh yeah, he put it there. Cool.
Yeah, actually, Fernando, is there clips of? Do you know if there's clips of it?
How long ago was that you worked with Makeup Forever?
I stopped. When did my contract run out? I had like these weird deals with them. I can't remember. Actually, this might be the last shoot I did with them because I stopped before I came into this channel. I think this is when I did this stuff for their. Wait, did we not put it in there? The Cirque du Cinema thing? Oh, there it is.
There you go.
It's a really incredible structure, and they're like all the prop cars to what do you call it? Fifth Element are in there, like the taxi cab, and yeah, Bruce.
Oh, there
Willis
you go.
stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was just really an amazing place, and it was cool that he just went out of his way to preserve it and make it very available.
Fun.
So you should go check that out.
I definitely will. I had actually wanted to do a workshop in Paris this year, and then I remembered, Olympics. Nope,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah.
wait. So
I bet you right after the Olympics, it was probably the perfect time to do it. Like it's just drops,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah, but I knew someone who lived in Paris, and they actually like paid people to leave. They did. The locals, like they said, you guys got to go because we can't support all this.
That sounds super French. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
get out of here.
Unbelievable. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the chat. I just think I saw them, but
I saw one. Someone was asking about the Mark II, the R5 Mark II. I saw something else too.
Dubai sounds amazing and doesn't want a better account. So what's going on now? What's next? Because I know you just did a workshop that we were part of, the fashion icon thing, which was, I gotta say, I saw it through the eyes of social. He was here, but it looked really good. I mean, I gotta say, people looked like they were amped shooting. A lot of good speakers. Yeah, I mean, is this like an occurrence for you, or what's going on with these workshops?
I 1000% want to do these again. So I do a lot of private workshops that are small groups, that are maybe like 6, 12 people, and they're super high production value. I love doing them, but because they're small groups, they're expensive, right? So one of the things I've been doing is convincing Adorama or Canon or Profoto to make it less expensive for you all. So this icons of fashion event that I did, the first day was shooting, and we had 5 different sets, and each of these sets had a different theme. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, I think that was one of them. So I had one that was like avant-garde beauty, one that was more commercial, one that was a full-length fashion shot, one that was a men's fashion, like there was more avant-garde fashion there. And so when you come, I give a little intro, we talk about it, and then everybody gets to shoot for 4 or 5 minutes on each set. Then the second day, I teamed up with photographers that I'm inspired by. So there's this duo. If you look them up, it's Dante and Ahmad. So it's ABDM Studios. And it's this duo based in Atlanta that their work is incredible. Like, they shoot for Vanity Fair, Hollywood Reporter. They've shot Zendaya, Lady Gaga, Lizzo. Like, you name the list of celebrities, they've shot them. And there's these young guys that are super talented. And so I had them come. So the second day, I taught half the group, they taught the other half the group, and then we switched so that you could see differing perspectives. So my plan is in the future to do the same thing, is to try to find other photographers that are like really doing it, like really making it happen for their career, doing something big in the industry, looking at things in a new way, and bringing them on as partners and things. So yeah, I think it was really successful. I loved it.
It looked really good.
Of course, I scheduled it so that we were teaching at the same time. And so even though I found them inspiring, I couldn't watch anything they did, which was kind of poorly thought out on my part. But they did a lecture in the evening, which was great.
And it's cool that you're highlighting people. I think it's important to kind of, I want to say pay it forward, but kind of, there's so many people that they're never going to get discovered by another group of people. And if you feel that you can give a spotlight, that's what half of Adorama TV is, guys. We took a chance on this one. No, I was kidding. But she does have a series on this channel. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
First of all, how do you go about your producing for the channel? Because you do a lot. Sam, you do a great job. How do you come up with a concept? Do you go through a list of concepts that you're scrapping constantly? Is it on the fly? How planned out is it?
Everything I do in life is planned, for better or for worse. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's not how I work.
So what I usually do is I put together a list of like 50 ideas, and I send them over to the Adorama team to look at. and let me know, okay, this one fits well with the calendar we have coming up, or actually we know a new piece of gear that's coming out, or this is timely, XYZ. And so you all will mark the ones that you're interested in. And then I try to group things together by theme of like, okay, this day we're going to do all beauty. This day it's going to be fashion. This day it's going to be on location. And so we'll film like usually like 3 videos a day. I do 2 for Adorama and 1 from my channel. And it's planned out with mood boards and wardrobe and all of that stuff. So the ways that I do workshops and commercial shoots is the same way that I do YouTube videos, which is the same way as I do portrait sessions, which is the same way. Like it's all
production.
The same thing. It's all production.
Yeah, I can't think like that. I cannot. I just had to do a bunch of videos for PPA in my studio with me and Dan traded off just to keep each other like, let's go. There's just no planning. I mean,
but you produce stuff nonstop.
On the fly. Like today,
Fernando's you have a video that's you. Is that today? Like you lighting on the fly? Is that?
Oh, that's my demo coming up.
Yeah, and I saw that.
The reason I'm doing lighting. Listen, I am so sick of topics. I'm so sick of being like, we're gonna do umbrellas versus softbox, and then they end up going off the rails anyway. I don't want to think about topics. I don't want to think topics. I just feel like there's so many people out there that don't ever produce something. They just want to shoot. You got your friend together, you got some gear. What can we do with this? What's the look we want? How do we get there? And you evolve your brain process as you go. I think I get so anxious about pre-planning. I have commitment issues. Like,
okay. I have no friends. You have commitment issues. Okay.
But I feel like it's out of my brain and I'm over it if I thought about it for too much. It has to happen. Like there's so many shoots I've done where I'm over it as I'm shooting it. I'm like, all right, well, I'm done. I don't want to see this again. I don't want to look at these ever again. Like I'm good. We're done.
But I think that depends on what photography is for you. If photography is purely for the joy of it and just creating something that brings you joy, then shoot it however you want to. But with, commercial clients, there's no choice.
Well, I was spoiled. I had people that just called me up when they needed me.
Yeah,
and they did everything. I took a huge hit on how much money I could have been making.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
I walked in, you gave me my check, I blitzed, I walked out of there. Like that was amazing.
That is another way you can approach things too. So depending on what it is, there's a client that I've had several times in the past that I loved because I know what we're doing, but I didn't plan anything. My first assistant would make the gear list based on what the very, very basic lighting was. And there was on set, like someone who set up the lighting assistants, right? Digital tech, that's a person that is making sure that the images are backed up, that they're correctly exposed, just they're sharp, all that
They're
stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Digital tech is so nice to have. It's insane.
Yes. And then like there's a producer for everything else. So basically at the end, I didn't even pass off a hard drive. The digital tech did. So like show up, took pictures, left. Amazing. So yeah, I get that.
And I don't like to retouch. Like I dial, right? I dial it in and then you know what you're getting with me. If you want to mess with them after the fact, you paid me. I'm good.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. Like,
but that's the thing that portrait photographers don't know. I have people say like, "Oh my gosh, you give people your raw files." I'm like, no, that's totally normal in commercial world. And like, when if they mess it up, I'm like, well, they paid me well, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's not yours.
Yeah.
You are a hired gun. You achieved what they wanted and you walk. That's the way I look at it. What's really awkward though is when they put it out there for whatever campaign and then you put out your version of it and it's like, what did they do to this, man?
Totally. I've definitely seen where they massacred it, but in the end, like what I usually do is I'll offer for addition, post-production management. So what it means is I'm hiring another retoucher to do it, but I'm overseeing the process. And so I charge 20% of what that retoucher is getting paid. So if the retoucher is getting paid $100 an image, I'm paying myself $20 or so per image. And I just make sure it comes out good. And most of the time I can convince a client to do that because then they're like, oh, well, I don't have to worry about this part of the process.
Yeah.
Cool. And so I try to convince them to go that route to make sure the images look good. But I'd say it's maybe 60% of the time they go that way.
Robbie's asking, assuming you have the chops, how do you make enough money to survive while you're building your rep? So you're not gonna make as much money as you could, but you're also not gonna get hired unless you build a rep, right?
Yeah.
So
my key to being able to come to New York and build a career was extremely low overhead. Like I made sure I didn't have any costs. I made sure that it wasn't a studio. I didn't have anybody else that I was paying. It was just me. I'd shoot in Central Park. We'd rent a location, whatever it would be. I didn't have any gear. We'd use natural light, that sort of thing. And And then it was the team. So the reason I could pay my rent when I first moved to New York is I worked with a wardrobe stylist who styled professional athletes. And she said, Lindsay, why don't we pitch to these professional athletes? Like, yeah, I'm styling them for red carpet. Let's go do some branding shots for them. And so it wasn't amazing pay. It was fine. It was about, let's say it was $1,200 a person, but I could get one a month. And this was, 15 years ago. So that paid my rent. I just needed one, and she would get me one every single month. So it was one person was why I could survive.
Yeah.
And then it built, and then it built, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's kind of, you have to kind of always think that if you're shooting and you've got 10 people aware that you're producing something and then they see it, that's 10 chances for them to recommend you or hire them yourself. Right. So a lot of things that sped up my world was shooting for schools, because I shot for 30 makeup artists at a time. Guess where they end up going?
Cool.
Shooting somewhere else, or going with a brand. And then I end up doing product patching for the makeup industry. And like, I can't stress this enough. Every time you're stepping up, that's everything. The second that when you're doing that job, that's the audition. That's not just you're doing the job. That's your next job. And you always have to approach it like that. You can't, it's not the time to relax once you got the job. I'll say that.
There's no chance you can ever phone it in. I agree with you completely.
Only this show is when I phone it in, guys. This is my chill.
Listen, he might have said that to me.
Yeah, this is I'm conning you guys every week. I'm like, they're like, hey, we need an hour of content a week. Like, got it. I'm just gonna hang out and talk nothing.
So honest.
I would say I'm honest to a fault, but I also think that with that, if I say something, you guys can believe it, right? So if I say that this is good, or I like doing it this way or whatever. Is there an age cap for assisting opportunities for you? Asking Cameron.
No, there's no such thing as an age cap for things. I'm trying to figure out my last, not my last intern, but the one before that was either my age or a year older. Not that that's old. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't a consideration for me.
The only thing I'd say consideration if it's physical, right? If I need you to carry lots of stuff up crazy stairs or something, like, I do take that into account, because there are some times when we're carrying high boys or whatever, and it's a lot of weight, man. Or, you got to be able to tighten a C-stand proper. I'm just,
Yeah. So what your job would be on set would be more in the realm of production. So you're the person making sure things are going smoothly. If the model's like calling the agency, like, so this is actually, I love this talk I've had with Ab. Ab Cisse, he does stuff on Adorama TV as well. He is a brilliant guy. And
Amazing.
One of the things that I love, every single intern I have, I give this speech that I basically took from Ab, but he sanctioned it. He did. He said it was fine.
Ab sanctioned.
He did. Is that everybody on set has a superpower. What's your superpower? I am obsessed with this concept. Every intern gets this. So for example, I say my hairstylist, obviously, styling hair is a superpower. But then I'll point to this one assistant. I'll be like, listen, this one assistant knows lighting incredibly well, knows what I want before I even say it, but he's horrifically disorganized. That's okay, because he has his superpower. This person, they're not as strong, they're smaller, so that's not going to be their superpower, but they're amazing at production, and they always have my back, and they're watching for anything that might go wrong. So yeah, if you want to be on a set, figure out what's missing or what you do special and make yourself invaluable. And it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're weak, if you're short, if you're tall, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and to that, you also have to realize it's on the photographer who's hiring to realize that kind of stuff. If there's someone that doesn't understand you're hiring people and it's your crew and you're delegating responsibilities based on their abilities, if you're expecting everyone to just be the best ever,
no.
People can't be the best at everything all over the place. It's crazy to even think that. And honestly, there's a lot of photographers, I think it's their fault most of the time, that the assistants, when they tell me assistant's bad, I'm like, are they?
Yeah, but this is what I was saying about my first assistant. Like, truly, the reason he's around is I know his strengths and I know his weaknesses, and I make sure that I always play to his strength and try to avoid his weaknesses, because he's brilliant at some things. I'm not great at everything, like confrontation
or making friends.
Exactly.
Glenn's asking if you're coming back to Philly anytime soon.
Nothing on my schedule.
And how and when to get an agency.
Yeah. So if talking about like photographers rep, this is the chicken and egg thing, is that when you have a photographer's rep, what they're doing is they're helping get your work in front of the roster of clients that they have. A lot of times a brand or an agency may come to them to help them fill out their team. So, hey, we're producing this shoot. We need you to bid for photographer, maybe even hair and makeup. But an agent, a photographer's rep, doesn't want you unless you already have gigs. Like they already want to know that you're a working photographer and that you're commercially viable and you're going to make the money, because the spot on their roster could be filled by someone else who is working. So I don't have a rep at the moment. Maybe I'll look next year, but I haven't had one in like 7 years. So it's not necessary. The rule of thumb is if you find yourself busy and unable to follow up with things you should be following up with, like invoices and bidding on jobs, like that's part of what they do for you. So there's that. The other thing you can consider is there are freelance photo reps. So let's say you're asked to do a huge job and you're like, I don't know what to charge for this, or whatever it may be. There's something that you can do to hire a producer. You can go to, there's a website called Production Paradise, or like there's models.com. If you go to models.com and look at campaigns, there's producers. This is another thing where like, other photographers, you're like, hey, if you worked with a good producer, what they do is they build estimates. So they'll build out the cost of what a job should be, all the things you might not have considered. And then, they don't charge you for that unless you get the job. But if you get the job, their fees are built in it and are usually pretty substantial.
And Pix by Jay is asking, hello, you too. Oh,
cute.
How would you advertise your work other than the not for weddings? I'm not a guy to ask that to.
Yeah, I haven't done weddings. I've done, like bridal fashion.
I would honestly say, from what I gather from going to the trade shows, go get your work seen where brides to be are looking for photographers. There's a lot to be said for social media when they're flying through all these people and trying to make heads or tails out of what style they want. I think we just went through the whole controversy of the sepia bride or whatever that was.
Oh yeah.
But they found them through social and they saw their style, and then they, didn't like their style after the fact. Like, get out of here.
Yeah. And the other one is consider wedding event planners.
Yeah.
Because they're helping the brides make a lot of decisions. And that's what I would probably do if I got into it now. Because I want to skip, not what I mean, but like skip the smaller, lower end stuff. Like I want to go straight to the people with lots of money. If they're hiring a high end event planner, that's my client.
Go check out Vanessa Joy's media. She has a lot of wedding photography stuff. And
she's stuff on Adorama
your team,
TV, yeah?
Canon. Yeah, she has stuff on Adorama TV. It's been a minute. We've been going through some channel.
But she has stuff there for sure.
Yeah, there's stuff up there. And then Pi Jersey too, but she has more business type stuff that I think would help out.
Yeah, or go to Imaging USA or WPPI. Come on over because they have a ton of stuff to help you out. I love both of those events.
Any tax tips for amateur photographers who are starting to get a few paid gigs? Yeah, hide the money, mayonnaise jars, and just hide the money. No, I mean,
this is just a general life tax tip. Is when I do estimated and I pay quarterly, so that you're not waiting till the end of the year and then be like, oh crap, I spent all the money that I need for taxes.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's a usual one. My opinion in life is if you're not good at something, even if your budget's tight, pay someone who actually knows what they're doing. In other words, like if you're with the right bookkeeper or accountant, they can save you money rather than costing you money. So I would do that.
And keep receipts of any gear. We're spending thousands on gear. That goes a long way in our industry.
Yeah,
so
totally true. Depreciation and writing things off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. I think there's a few photographers that specialize in talking about this kind of stuff. But you'd be surprised what is actually legitimately a write-off.
Yeah. And
if education is too.
All these kind of questions, consider going to trade shows, because that's what all these talks are, and you're surrounded by a million different point of views on the same topic. So I think if you haven't thought about it, maybe make a trip out of going to Vegas or EPI, make a trip out of going to
Texas,
Dallas for Imaging USA. So, think about that kind of stuff. It sounds like meh, or you might not be into it. I'm telling you, look at me. Trade shows are dope. All right.
I love them.
Yeah, they're really good. And especially if you want to build connections and hear direct from photo brands, like what's up with what, or what's better for you, what's best for you, try things out, it's really good.
And tax write-off.
Yeah,
the
tax.
Whole trip.
Yeah,
so
tax write-off.
Well, you're, related to what you're saying.
Yeah, shoot something and you're good, Oh my God, we're at an hour already. Look at that.
I blame you.
They blame me? Oh,
yeah.
Wait, we got another one. Brad. So Brad's an OG on this channel. I'm going to let this one go.
This is Lindsay. So funny.
all that amazing curly hair. Do you ever wear it down?
Yeah, I was going to wear it down today, but I walked here. It's about a 25-minute walk, and I didn't think it would last. That's it. Diva curl. That's what I use for my hair.
Diva curl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's humidity out, I can't deal with the frizz.
Yeah, we relate.
Plus, you can see Seth call someone a schmuck in person,
which is my favorite.
Yeah, I do yell at my audiences. That's true. I definitely
do not. We have different styles.
You're polite about it, but you. I mean,
which thing?
I've seen some things on them stages. I'll just say
gosh,
that.
I can't remember.
A question for work in commercial world: who creates the concept first, the client or the photographer?
It can go both ways.
Yep.
Typically, if they are presenting the idea, a lot of times it's they've actually hired an ad agency, and then the ad agency is sending you a creative deck of what it will be that you're executing. Other times it would be the client direct, and they might send you just an overview of what they're trying to achieve. And they ask you to produce something called the photographer's treatment. And then your treatment is like, based on what you say you're trying to do, here's how I would shoot it as a photographer. And you include like, here's some compositions and lighting and whatnot. So it can go either way.
Yeah, it's like any other creative job. Sometimes people are looking for a certain style, they find your work, then they come to you. Or you can go to a brand you think you're psyched on and would fit well with and pitch to them. Like I'm currently pitching to WWE because I think I could do some really cool stuff there.
Amazing.
We'll see if that ever happens. But I would love to take the crazy stuff I did for Aliens and light up some diesel psycho characters. I think it'd be kind of cool. So
that would be fantastic.
I would love to do it if I could. Your guy Chris just did the boxing at Tyson Fury. He just shot the boxing campaign, which is similar.
And that was a massive job.
Oh,
with huge production value. And he hired a producer because it would be something that would be well beyond like the type of things that he or I produce because it's got so many moving parts. But it was cool. We did a scavenger hunt around the city for it. So we're like, look, there it is on this billboard. Look, there it is on the subway. It was awesome.
It's also how you get to enjoy it. Like you got to that kind of level. When you do a campaign and you can see the billboard you did. When I used to shoot for IKEA, I'd be like, oh, whoa, like it made it to here. That's cool.
That's fantastic.
Also, you hawk it because if they go over the usage rights, like,
yes, you totally.
You pay me again, homie.
I've had that happen a couple of times. And you just say, real nice, by the way. I noticed it's still up. And they're like, oh, here you go. Here's money.
Yeah. Don't sue us, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
And lastly, I just want to point out, when you guys hear about these giant day rates, I don't think people also realize that also goes with you're hiring more people, it's going to cost more. It's not like you're jackpotting all the time. Like she just said, he hired a producer. That's another rate that's getting cut out of whatever they're paying the entire production, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of relative, you know?
Yeah, and I also think I've seen a couple other people talk about their massive commercial jobs they've gone. They exist. It is not as common as some people would like you to believe. And I do everything from tiny little jobs that are my 6-person crew and it's me, to the 60-person on set and everything in between, because if it pays.
You don't ever do the whole like no one else is in the studio but us. Let's do a portrait session. It's you're always doing a thing.
No, but probably maybe if I did celebrity work, it might be relevant. But no, we always it's more party atmosphere. We've got music, got people going, and you just figure out. Like I have my whole team. We'll call it doing like loose therapy before, like as they're doing their hair and makeup, they're like figuring out what they like, what they're into, so I can then make sure I'm putting on that type of music, or like there's topics to stay away from. Like they're doing recon for me, and they'll tell me right away.
That's funny. Do you still get excited when you see an ad on a billboard, bench or bus? Yeah.
Yeah. If I know it's up someplace, I will ask people to send me photos. But so much of what I've done in the past, I mean, I think I've only had maybe 2 billboards in the last like 4 years. Everything is online. It kills me. Like, I just want to see billboards. It just feels so good.
I can't remember the last time I had to go out to get a stack of the magazine I just got a cover of.
Yeah.
Like it's funny. You go to Barnes & Noble, I'm like, wow, there used to be this many racks and now there's this many racks. Mm-hmm. And I look at having tear sheets kind of, I feel privileged to have been in that era where I got to actually have tear sheets. You still have plenty of print work though.
Yeah, but a lot of times I'm shooting overseas and it's so funny. I'll shoot for a major magazine. I'm talking like a Harper's Bazaar, right? They don't even offer to send me a copy of the magazine. If I want it, I have to pay for it and pay for the shipping for them to send it to me. And by the way, they don't pay for the editorial either.
Yeah.
So I did the whole thing and I don't even get a real copy of it. I get the PDF.
That sucks.
Yeah. But then I'll print it out and be like, look.
I mean, my early days when I used to shoot for the BMX magazines, I'd go to Union Square. I'd see the guy I shot, be like, hey, we got a cover. What? Watch the bikes. Go into Barnes & Noble, come out with a stack of them and hand them out to everybody.
Cool.
But then we realized no one can buy them because we just sold it out. So like, so we're just like, whatever.
Cute,
but I'll never forget those moments. I kind of wish I still had that, like, oh my God, this is really happening kind of thing. But now it's, you got to a point where this is what I do. This is how we go about things.
I mean, I used to go into Barnes & Noble for the magazines I was in and open them up and leave it there open to
Oh, that's so... Well, I remember when I was a really young kid, you walk around, if you were going to like the photo book section or whatever, and you would never even think like you'd be part of that. And then when you're finally seeing your images on those racks, it's a moment, you know? And I think about that all the time. Whenever I go to Union Square at that spot, staring at Barnes & Noble, I think about those days and I go, yeah, this has been a really cool ride. Because no matter how cool it is or whatever it is we have to do, it can bog you down. It can really beat you up. It can be exhausting. Your anxiety of having to perform on the spot, your reputation every time you shoot, you got to take a minute and enjoy it. And this is from a guy who hates everything, trust me. But you got to take a minute to celebrate it a little bit, even just like a little thing in your head. Oh my gosh, I think that's a good spot. Yeah.
I think that is completely accurate. And I try to do the same thing because I'll do the same thing as you. Hate everything and flip my hair about it.
No, I have a nerve problem in my neck that's killing me. I have to actually go like this to...
All right, so what you're saying is afterwards elbow.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have like this crazy tingling going on in my neck constantly. So whenever you guys see me doing this, I'm trying to stop it.
I like it. I think it looks like you're just swiping your hair like a 90s heartthrob.
Oh, jeez.
I think it looks good.
I'm just a janitor who can't afford a haircut. Listen, guys,
great.
Thanks so much for joining us. You can always follow Lindsay's stuff here. Check out her workshops. Maybe we'll actually figure something out one of these days to do one.
I want to do one with you.
We'll figure it out. But we're going to get her back in here to do a live one. If you want to see her live demo, Adorama Events is the newer YouTube channel that all the live stuff out of this space gets beamed to. So if you think you're subscribed to it, you're probably not. This is the main channel. Adorama Events is the other channel. Go check out her color theory video, check out all her work, and sign up for some workshops. And we will also see you at all the trade shows if you go. You're definitely you're on imaging.
I'll be on all of them. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
I love it. I treat it as work/vacation. So.
All right, guys, be good to each other. I want to do a quick thanks to Profoto for sponsoring this. Thanks, guys. We love you. Cliff, shout out to Cliff and Mike and Mark. And yeah, I guess this will be a really awkward ending. Be good to each other, guys. Later.
Bye.